Hello, friends. It's been a while since I have posted on here, and I just wanted to deliver just a word that I feel like is timely. It's been timely in my life. It's been timely, and everybody that I've talked to about it so far this year has felt like it was something that they needed to hear. It's something that we've been discussing on and off, me and a few friends of mine. Um, and that word is this word alignment. And it's focusing on being aligned with the right people and making sure that you're aligned with the right people. Um, it's very easy for us to allow people into our sphere, to allow people into our circle of friends or our circle of trust, uh, sometimes without properly getting to know them and understanding who they are, what their motivations are, where they're coming from, why they are where they are, and the series of events that have led them to that point. Now, the way that the Lord got my attention with this story, or with this idea of alignment and making sure that I'm in line and aligned with the right people, is through the story of Jonah. Now, I'm not going to share the whole story with you tonight. Jonah's only it's 4 chapters long. I believe there's 47 or 48 verses in the entire book. Maybe a 5-minute read from front to back. I want to focus mainly on chapter 1 tonight and talking about Jonah, what happened with him, and how it correlates into being aligned with the right people. So Jonah starts off with the word of the Lord coming to Jonah, the prophet, and telling him to go to this city, Nineveh, and bring the word that the Lord has for this city. Now, instead of going to Nineveh, Jonah turns around and goes the opposite direction. He flees towards a city called Tarshish, and this city is about 2,000 miles in the opposite direction of where the Lord was sending him. Jonah did not want to go to Nineveh because of many different reasons. Prejudice, racism. He hated the people in Nineveh. He hated the Nineveh was the capital city of the country of Assyria, and he hated the Assyrians. He wanted to see the city destroyed. And he knew that the Lord was gracious and slow to anger and would relent from judgment if he were to go and the people were to actually repent. And so Jonah gets in a boat, he pays the fare, he gets on a boat, and they head off in the opposite direction, going to the city called Tarshish. And not very long into this trip, a great storm hits where this boat is on the water in the Mediterranean Sea. And in the ESV, it says multiple times that the wind becomes more and more tempestuous. Just a tempest comes, and it's just a deluge of water. It is hurricane force winds. It is a terrifying situation for the sailors. They start throwing their cargo overboard, hoping to lighten their ship. Meanwhile, Jonah is in the bottom of the boat, fast asleep. When we run away from the call of the Lord on our lives, we can become spiritually dull and checked out, and we can sleep through some of the things that the Lord is using to try and get our attention. And so Jonah is fast asleep in the bottom of the boat. The captain of the ship comes down and tells Jonah, "What are you doing? Why are you asleep? Pray to your God, and maybe he will deliver us from this." Well, eventually Jonah comes out. The people on the ship, they cast lots. The lot falls to Jonah. They're like, "Who are you? Where are you from? What is going on here?" And Jonah basically tells them, I'm a Hebrew. I serve the Lord, the God who created the land and the sea. And that's what's going on. This is what's happening. I'm running from God. I'm actively fleeing from his presence. And so that's why this situation is coming. And so the people are like, "Well, what are we supposed to do then?" And he says, "You're going to have to throw me overboard. You're going to have to cast me over the side of this ship in order for these waves and for the sea to calm down." And so eventually they try rowing even harder to go back to land. And it says the sea even gets more and more tempestuous. And they eventually do throw him overboard, throw him over the side of the boat. The seas immediately become still. He is swallowed by a giant fish. And the sailors on the boat, they make sacrifices to the Lord, and they make vows to the Lord. Now, what does that have to do with aligning ourselves with the right people? Well, the people on the boat didn't know Jonah when he got onto the boat. They didn't expect him to be a prophet running from the Lord when he paid the fare to get on the ship. He was just another person that was going to ride on the boat as they went about their way. He came in, they did not properly get to know him. They didn't ask him questions. They didn't get to know his story, anything like that. They just allowed him on the boat, and it almost cost them all their lives because they didn't properly vet Jonah. There are people that are going to come into our lives, and I specifically feel this word so strong on 2025, that there are people that we're going to come into contact with throughout this year. Some of them are going to be really good people. Some of them are not going to be the greatest people for us to link arms with. It is a good idea to go to the Lord and pray for wisdom about the relationships and the connections and the friends and the the people that we allow into our lives. And I'm not talking about, a lot of people would use this message and just be like, well, just don't talk to people that aren't saved, and don't ever come into contact and befriend anybody who doesn't believe in Jesus. I'm not saying that at all. I think that there's plenty of proof in the scriptures of Jesus befriending sinners. So I don't think there's a problem with us befriending sinners. I think there's a very big problem when we allow people who do not align with us in our values, in our morals, in our behaviors, in our beliefs, in those kind of systems, when we allow people that don't align with us to come in and have an influence over our lives. Not everyone is supposed to be able to come in and start giving you advice. Not everyone is supposed to be able to come in and start giving you, what they would do in this situation, and speaking into your life and trying to alter the course of your life. You don't need to let everyone in. I'm friends with a lot of people. A lot of people probably think that I'm really, really great friends with them, and I'm pretty good friends with a lot of people, but there's a handful that I actually allow to speak into my life. There's a handful that I actually allow to come in, and when they speak to me, their words have weight. Not everyone should have that access to you. So in 2025, I would encourage you, almost as a cautionary word, be careful who you allow to come in and have weight over your life. Be careful who you allow to come onto your boat and have influence over where you're going, over what you're doing, over how you're living, over the decisions that you're making. It just might sink your ship if you do not tread with caution. And the last thing that I want to say is sometimes we allow the wrong person onto our boat, and we have to forcibly remove them. Jonah could have jumped over the side on his own. I believe that he was probably convinced that if he did it, he would die. And so that's why he told them that they had to throw him overboard. But I firmly believe that there are some people that are in our lives, and by whatever decision, maybe it's because we grew up together, maybe it's because they felt like they were trustworthy to begin with. But you've been able to witness their character. You've been able to witness what they do with their lives, how they operate, how they live, all of those kind of things. And you realize that you don't align morally, you don't align belief-wise, you don't align worldview-wise. And it's okay to maintain some sort of connection with them, but they should not be in your life, in your sphere of influence, like dictating any kind of direction for your life. And when you have people like that, sometimes you're going to have to forcibly remove them. You're going to have to actively distance yourself from those people, and you're going to have to actively work with the Lord on how to exit that situation and exit that relationship. And so my word of caution, my word of warning for us for 2025, and I don't want it to be like a negative word, because I think that it's a great word, because there's going to be awesome people that we come into contact with throughout this year that we need to see, that we need to be in communication with. The Lord is going to open some doors, and He's going to align some paths this year that are going to be incredible. But not everyone should have access to be able to come into your life, to be able to come and influence who you are, to be able to influence your decisions and your direction. So that is my word for you to begin this series. I believe that I'm going to cover all of the book of Jonah throughout a series of videos, but for sure the first thing that I think we need to understand is that not everyone should be allowed to come onto our boat and have influence. Your best days are not behind you, they are in front of you, The best is yet to come. Have a great day.